We will now consider an example using the installment payment formula. Recall that we learned the installment payment formula earlier in this section. To review, the formula is shown on the screen. Recall that M is the installment payment, P is the amount financed, R is the interest rate as a decimal, N is the number of payments per year, and T is the time in years. So let's look at an example. Kristen wishes to purchase new window blinds for her house at a cost of $1,500. The home improvement store has an advertised finance option of no down payment and 6% APR for 24 months. Determine Kristen's monthly payment. So let's look at our example and let's identify what our variables stand for. Recall that P is the amount financed. So in our example, Kristen is going to finance the cost of the blinds, which is $1,500. So P will equal $1,500. R is the interest rate as a decimal. So we see that the interest rate is 6%, and 6% written as a decimal is going to be 0.06. N is the number of payments per year. And she is making monthly payments. And so we will have 12 months per year, so the N value will equal 12. The T is the time in years. And we see that the loan is going to be financed over 24 months, and so our time will be 2 years. So now we want to take our formula and we want to plug our numbers in for the appropriate variables. So remember that our formula is going to solve for M, where M is the installment payment. And so for the numerator of the fraction, we have P, which I'm going to plug in 1,500. And in parentheses, we have R divided by N. So 0.06 divided by 12. For the denominator of our fraction, the formula says 1 minus, and in parentheses, 1 plus R divided by N. So again, 0.06 divided by 12. And we're going to raise that to the negative N times T. So that will be negative 12 times 2. Now, we're going to do some basic simplifying before we go to our calculator and try to plug the entire fraction in at once. One thing that is fairly easy to do is to go ahead and look at the negative 12 times the 2. And we know that negative 12 times 2 is going to be negative 24. So I'm going to make that adjustment right here. Another thing that we can calculate is the 0.06 divided by 12. So in your calculator, if you take 0.06 and divide by 12, you're going to get 0.005. We can also do the similar calculation in the denominator, where we have 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12. If we know that 0.06 divided by 12 is 0.005, then adding 1 will give us 1.005. Next, we can go ahead and do the multiplication in the top part of the fraction. So 1,500 times 0.005 is going to give me 7.5. And then for the denominator, we can go ahead and raise 1.005 to the negative 24th power. And so doing this calculation, 1.005 to the negative 24 is going to give me 0.88718 567. And I want to be careful about rounding here. That's why I'm writing out the entire decimal. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the subtraction down here. 1 minus that 0.88718 567. And when I do that subtraction, that is going to give me 0.11281433. And dividing the 7.5 by the 0.11 in the denominator is going to give me an approximate monthly payment of $66.48.